someone I really admire the courage for, and that's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. You know, he has done a tremendous job in fighting vaccine mandates, in fighting for free speech. And once again, it's somebody that Tucker Carlson wouldn't necessarily have invited on his show in the past, would not necessarily have agreed with on very many issues, but we're coming together on basics right now, aren't we? On things like free speech. If you want to continue to have freedom of conscience, freedom of speech, to say the things you believe in without Justin Trudeau banning them and saying it's disinformation because I don't agree with it, we have to find commonality with those people who agree with us. And this is extremely important. And I want you just to watch this clip. This is one of Tucker's last interviews on Fox News, anyway. And this is with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I was, a huge fan of his father. I was, far too young to support him anyway at the time of his assassination in 1968. But I think his legacy was largely a positive one because he had the personal courage to stand up for the issues he believed in. And I certainly was not one who ever admired or was supportive of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. But he showed tremendous courage during the whole COVID-19 pandemic. And he continues now to emphasize those things we need to focus on. And the things we need to focus on are not climate change, are not transgender rights, are not electric cars and green energy, but issues that matter, like having enough food to eat, being able to heat your home, and having the freedom to speak your mind. So just watch this clip the other night from Fox.
I think that the general theme of my speech was this corrupt merger of state and corporate power, which is turning our country into a corporate kleptocracy, into a system of socialism for the rich, and this kind of a cushy socialism for the rich, and this kind of brutal, merciless capitalism for the poor. It keeps us in a state of war. It bails out banks at the same time that last month, the United States government told 30 million people it was cutting their their food stamp checks by 90%. It took 15 million people off of Medicare. The same month, it gave $300 million to the Silicon Valley Bank and tapped up the cost of the Ukraine war to $113 billion. We're sending $113 billion to the Ukraine. The entire budget of EPA is $12 billion. The budget of CDC is $11 billion. We have 57% of American citizens could not put their hands on $1,000 if they have an emergency. A quarter of our citizens are hungry. So we're cutting welfare and food stamps by 90%. And we're bailing out the bankers. We're paying for a war that, we can't afford. And with the way that we do this is by printing money. We've printed 10 centuries of money in the last 14 years. And that caused the inflation, which raises food, which is a tax on the poor. Oh, we've raised food prices for basic foods like chicken, dairy, and milk by 76% in the last 2 years. And now we're cutting people's food stamps and bailing out banks the same month. It doesn't make any sense. And we need to get rid of this kind of corporate control of our government. It comes from our democracy is devolving into kind of a corporate plutocracy.
Yeah, fantastic clip there. And he went on to say some other great things. He was on other Fox News programs. The funny thing is the liberal media don't want him on. And that's because he's seen as a traitor to his liberal cause, a traitor to his liberal class, his democratic class. That's how they see him. And so they just don't want to talk to him. And so he's going on Fox News. And it goes to show you how our whole idea of who's right and who's wrong has been reorientated in the last 2 to 3 years. And I find it quite fascinating.